Hello everyone, I welcome you all on this YouTube channel UPSClogy. This is me Rahul, and today we are going to cover The Hindu for your public administration optional, and we are going to cover two newspaper dated 2nd of December and 3rd of December 2021. So आज हम दो अखबार कवर करेंगे, दुई अखबार कवर करेंगे, दो ठो अखबार आज हम यहाँ पे कवर करेंगे. सो द फर्स्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट न्यू आर्टिकल इन द न्यूज़पेपर ऑफ 2nd of December and the only important article in the newspaper of 2nd of December is on your screen. So Supreme Court pushes for the Council on Judicial Infrastructure. So basically what you have to understand that in the previous month, in the month of September 2021 also, the CJI, Chief Justice of India, he proposed the idea of National Judicial Infrastructure Corporation. So what you have to understand, you need to understand the pros and cons, the need of this organization or this specific body called National Judicial Infrastructure Corporation, the need, the challenges, the way forward. So this is the entire kind of thing that you need to understand. Why we are covering this thing? Because it is the part of your judiciary, which is the part of your public administration paper 2, Indian government and administration, or for that matter in the philosophical framework also you can link it with the that part of syllabus. So why we are covering this thing? Because in the previous year, if you analyze, UPSC has already asked about all India judicial services, the needs, challenges, etc. So similarly, on the same lines, you need to understand the analysis of National Judicial Infrastructure Corporation. So basically there are certain issues insofar as the present infrastructure is concerned. 10% of the subordinate courts in India, they don't have internet facility. So you need to link this thing with your criminal justice system. If you are following my PubAdPedia current affair magazine, you will find that in the previous editions we have covered that we need to make the criminal justice system more, you can say, organized, or it should be like integrated. Online or digitalization of criminal justice system is something that is at the core of the philosophy. So basically this criminal justice system is the part of your law and order administration. Okay, so from that perspective also this becomes important, because in your law and order, criminal justice is the part, and in criminal justice system you will find different components like judiciary is there, police is there, and jails are there. So in this way that is important, and you need to understand this thing. So here 10% of the courts in India, they don't have the internet facility. So you can understand the condition, the poor condition insofar as the infrastructure is concerned. Similarly, there is one more survey fact that 27%, only 27% subordinate courts have the computer on the judge, the dais of the judge. So you can understand that they don't have computer. Even if you have watched the movies, the Hindi movies, or for that matter South Indian movies, you will find that when it comes to the scene of the court, etc., the judge don't have the computer in front of him. Okay, so in that sense you can understand that only 27% have the computer. So there is no online, or there is no computer per se. We are not talking about online, but yes, computer is not there. So this is the condition. So now you might ask that what government is doing. So if you analyze the role of the government since 1993-94, there is a scheme called centrally sponsored scheme for judicial infrastructure. But the problem with the scheme is, as you know, that judiciary is independent body, and when it comes to independence of a particular body, the financial autonomy is very important. They should not depend, the judiciary should not depend on the executive or for the you can say funds, etc., and that's why it becomes important that independent body in the form of National Judicial Infrastructure Corporation should be be there. So now how can you link this thing with your public administration theories thinkers? So what you have to understand that infrastructure is the basic foundation. So if you try to analyze the kind of structural aspects, then you will find that infrastructure is very important, because ultimately the premise should have the proper infrastructure. Otherwise there is no point of the behavioral changes or other kind of reforms, and that's how you can link. And in structure is something that was, you can say, at the core of the classical theories, etc. So in that sense you can analyze. So there is no need to remember to link everything like this, but what you have to understand that this issue is directly important for your public administration paper 2. I hope you are getting this thing. Okay. So apart from National Judicial Corporation, if you analyze the newspaper dated 3rd of December 2021, that means if you analyze today's newspaper, again there are no articles, there is only one article that is also very indirect, and I'm just linking it in a forced manner, you can say. Okay, so there are no articles as such. If you analyze the entire paper, there is one lead articles are on like environment and other aspects, and similarly administration related articles are not there. So here what you have to understand, if you try to use this article to delve into the issue of administration, then we can do that thing. Okay, so I'm just giving you some kind of linkage, etc. So here back to Kamraj Plan. So this article is talking about Andhra Pradesh, not important for your exam per se if you are not belonging to this Andhra Pradesh. But what you have to understand, this Kamraj Plan, it was proposed, or it was came into picture in 1963, when this K. Kamraj, you must be knowing about him from your this post-independent history of India. So Kamraj Plan, basically, if you just read out a bit about Kamraj Plan, so here the things are: in 1963, the Chief Minister of the then Madras State, K. Kamraj, he suggested to the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru that all senior Congress ministers should resign and take up the party work to revitalize the Congress. So basically, what is this Kamraj Plan? Kamraj Plan, what it talks about, it says that the central, you can say this is central power structure like cabinet or something like that, and other peripheral like work on this, you can say organizational work, etc. So one is core work and another is peripheral or organizational work. Both are important, both have their own values. So according to Kamraj Plan, the cabinet ministers should resign and they should work at the party structure and in the organization per se. Not important for your PubAd directly, but what you have to understand, that similar kind of things are relevant for your administration. Similar kind of things are relevant when it comes to your this same analogy can be created when it comes to not politician but administrators. Okay, so you must be knowing about the executive. So here Kamraj Plan is talking about political executive, but even for the permanent executive, for the bureaucrats also, this thing is totally applicable, and that's why we have the scenarios like we have the line agency, staff agency, we have the kind of deputation, etc. We have the tenure system, we have the other kind of system where you can say the bureaucrats, they keep on moving from the center to the you can say local or the staff to line. They move from line agency to staff agency. So this is how the things are, and the logic that you will find here is applicable on the administrative structure as well. Why? Because if a particular person, so you can just make the analogy over here, if a particular person is involved here at the center, at the cabinet level, or for that matter at the administrative you can say staff level, then what will happen, that the kind of you can say the kind of identity of organization or kind of philosophy will create in the mind of that person. So the attachment from the soil, or you can say from the ground realities will fade away. So that's why this problem is called as the, from the administrative perspective, this problem is called as the Beagle Factor. What is this Beagle Factor? I told you the Beagle Factor in the previous videos as well. Beagle Factor is something where the people at the top, they don't know the ground realities. They don't know the ground reality and and the situation at the ground level. Okay, so this Beagle Factor is like illusion or something like that. So I hope you are getting. So this problem becomes you can say more prevalent when the people in the organization, they don't know about the ground realities, like what people demand. And that's why decentralization is important, so that the people who are the politician or the representative who are working at the ground, they can, you can say, represent the, you can say, people of the country, the citizen of country. So this is how the things are. So first is the parochial attitude, or you can say ethnocentric. So comparative administration will not there. Okay, so now the people will not be able to understand the ground reality. This is the first, you can say, problem when the people stick to a particular position for a longer period of time. And similarly, apart from this thing, you can also understand one of the UPSC previous year question, where UPSC has asked this thing, that whether institution is important or individual is important. So in one of the previous year, UPSC has asked this question in one of the, you can say, civil service exam, and that was about institution versus individual. So this is also important, like individual become more important when an individual stick to a particular position. Okay, so that is the problem. And even second ARC was talking about this thing, that desires of ministry department to guard their perceived jealousy is the major problem insofar as the administration is concerned. So there is an idea of perceived jealousy. So they attach themselves to a particular position, and that creates problem, because ultimately the work is important, position is not important, institution is important, individual is not important. So these kind of things are there, and this is how you can understand that yes, there is a problem if we stick to a particular position, if an administrator or for that matter politician stick to a particular position. So you can just understand that, let's say this is the central level, this is the ground level. So for ground level also it becomes important, so that the person move here and can understand the ground realities, so that these realities could get their, you can say, due regard insofar as the policy formulation is concerned. So that's how this is important for the ground level. Similarly for here also it is important, for the central level also this is important. Otherwise people, the people at the center, they will create the kind of you can say identity of the organization, and individual would become more important than institution, and these are the things. Okay, and apart from that there are also reasons behind this kind of you can say the kind of the relation between the kind of department philosophy that is being created. So here Peter Self is there. So if you read Mohit Bhattacharya, you will find Peter Self is one of the thinkers, and you will get this idea in the chapter called organization. There is one chapter with respect to inter-organization relation, chapter number 11 of Mohit Bhattacharya. So there you will get the topic of identity of the organization and departmental philosophy. So Peter Self was talking about the things like there are two factors that create this departmental philosophy, and these factors are process factor and client factor. Process factor and client factor. So when it comes to administrators, what happen with those administrators, that they create a particular departmental philosophy, they create a kind of sense in their mind, the kind of philosophy in their mind, because of two reasons. One is process factor and another is client factor. Let's say client factor. So they have to deal with the similar kind of clients. Okay, just imagine there is a particular ministry called telecom ministry. Okay, so a particular person, the secretary of this specific ministry called telecom ministry, they used to deal with the Jio, they used to deal with the you can say the interest of Bharti Airtel. Jio, Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea, VI. Okay, so they deal with those things again and again and again and again. Okay, so this create a kind of departmental philosophy. They attach or they make a particular kind of relation, and that's why this becomes important. Similarly, when it comes to coal, so Ministry of Coal is there. So again, the relation between the administrators in the coal ministry and the different, you can say, miners and miners and all, there will be a kind of client factor, and that client factor would create a kind of departmental philosophy. And to break this philosophy so that it should not become the collusive corruption, we have to bring this kind of, you can say, swapping, and that's how this Kamraj plan is equally relevant for your public administration also, because ultimately we are saying about executive. Okay, I hope you are getting, and I hope you are able to understand this thing. And apart from that, there is also a process factor. So bureaucrat working in a particular organization, they also attach themselves to a particular process. The process in India is red tape process, bureaucratic process, technocratic process, the process of delays, the process of red tapeism, the process of cost overrun, the process of let's say strategizenship. Strategizenship is the process, it is the criticism of bureaucracy. If you read strategizenship, basically means that bureaucracy keep on accumulating power over a period of time. Okay, so if you say bureaucracy that, hey bureaucrat, you have to do this thing, the bureaucrat will say, okay, I will do that thing, but give me more power. So power is something that is accumulated by the bureaucracy over a period of time, and this is the problem of bureaucracy, and this criticism is known as strategizenship. Okay, so that is also a problem. So automatically these things become problematic, and that's why we have to break this departmental philosophy. We have to bring the kind of neutrality. Okay, Weber was talking about neutrality, Fowler was talking about impersonal relationship, and these people should not develop a kind of philosophy. And that's why this is also important, that they should, you can say, there should be a kind of swap of the people, so that from the center they should come at the ground level. So it is important for the ground as well, and it is also important for the center per se. I hope you are getting all the nitty-gritties with respect to this topic, that how can you understand that when it comes to Kamraj plan is not only relevant for the political executive, but it is also important for your, you can say, permanent executive, or you can say non-elected executive, that is bureaucrats. I hope you are getting the depth of the understanding and depth of this analysis. This is it, and thank you so much. Don't forget to join the PubAdPedia channel. Link is given in the description box. Thank you.